Hi everyone. Today on the interview I have Sarah Evans from SeveranceStrategy.com, and why I got her on the call was because public relations. All small business owners, regardless of how small or big you are, we all need public relations for our business. And I felt I need to get someone, an expert in the field, to come on the call and explain to you guys how public relations is today and why you should be using it for your business. So Sarah, go ahead, introduce yourself, your company, and we get started from there.
Well, I started Seven Strategy about 8 months ago, and it's really been an amazing experience. I've learned every day something new that I'm not good at and what I need to learn more about. But it's one thing I do know is that there's a need for what we're doing. And while our background is pure public relations, we really right now are working with organizations and brands who are looking to figure out how do they incorporate social media into their current marketing and communications or advertising or customer service outreach. And we're not a firm that comes in and says, let's set up your Twitter account and show you how to do it. We figure out where people need to be. We examine what workflow needs to change, what the structure in the organization needs to look like in order to make things work. So it's definitely, PR has changed completely. I'm doing I'd say I'm doing the work I was doing 6 years ago. It's almost a completely different workday now because of the rise of social media and online communications. It's really, really crazy.
Yes, and one thing you said is PR has changed. I want us to walk through how PR used to be, and public relations, how it used to be back in the day and how it is now.
Sure. Well, PR is kind of a broad category. I think sometimes people think it's only about media relations, but public relations incorporates, for some people, internal communications, external communications, community relations, government relations. So it runs the gamut. But most people usually, especially business owners that I work with, tend to focus on the media relations. So let me just explain as easily or as simply as possible how that has changed. When I was in college, and the way I was trained was, you identify a good story, you pitch a reporter,
yes.
You hope that they pick it up, You hope that they incorporate your key messages or your spokesperson, you hope that the consumer picks up or reads or listens to that publication, that they hear your message, and that they take action based out of that, and that the article is favorable. And now with the integration of social media, we have these new opportunities to go to where the consumers are.
Okay.
It doesn't devalue what some people call mainstream or traditional media. That's still very important. But there are certain opportunities now where we can just go direct to the consumer where they're at. Now, to do that, we have to do so without interrupting them or annoying them, and interacting with them in a way that they want to be interacted with, since we're joining them on their turf.
So walk me through that. Like, if a company comes to you with the old idea of how maybe they had a client, they had someone providing PR services to them before, and they use the old way of doing things, and they come to you now. Walk me through how you're gonna take them from that old way of doing things to getting their mind ready to working in the new environment for PR.
Well, one of the cool things is that we don't have to change everything. Many of the clients, what we do is an integrated approach where we're still using, because that traditional media is still valued, we come up with, just as an example, we'll develop a media list that has traditional media, bloggers, and online influencers, those people who have influence on some larger network. And we reach out to them each in a different way. Much like with traditional journalists, we'll know what's their beat, what do they write about. So we'll pitch a story that works for that. With the blogger, we'll look to see, are they writing a business blog? Are they writing a passion-based blog? Are they writing about a hobby? So how do we reach out to them? And then still, we'll use different tactics or other ways to build community or reach out to online influencers to see if they're interested in talking about or writing about something. And that's just one tactic. That's just pitching so somebody writes something. We might build a social media movement around something, okay. Partnering with a brand or a nonprofit to make something bigger, to make some noise online.
Oh yes. So so basically the first step is to get them to pitch to the blogger, to have the blogger write about something that they're already doing. And go ahead.
Well, it can be if that's the strategy, but even taking a few steps back, it has to be: do we have stories we need to tell? And if we do, where do we need to tell them? And then it's developing. A lot of time goes into developing media lists, because you want to make sure that you are reaching out to and pitching the right people, that you're not spamming 50 people. I was giving an example this evening about you could do a search on all bloggers who write about fishing,
Okay.
But without doing research, if you pitch them all, you might miss that there are some bloggers who write about fishing who only write about lures or specific kind of bobbers or something, you know, like they have a niche topic that they write about. So you need to really do your homework and figure out what they actually write about, so you're pitching them something that they can't wait to write about.
Okay, so now we've gotten the steps of how to pitch them. How do you create a buzz around something? Because that was the second angle you went with the PR, creating a buzz. What will you encourage a small business owner to do in order to create a buzz around what they're doing?
Well, there's a few things, and one, it's the hardest thing to understand, that not everything is newsworthy. Even though you're so excited about it, it may not be buzzworthy or newsworthy. And really identifying what's newsworthy is looking at what is timely, what is relevant, what is something happening on a national or international scale that you can hone down into a local angle and pitch to local people. But if you're looking to create buzz online, it's usually by doing what's best for, or what your community has asked for. Things that can, think about the question, what's in it for me? And by what's in it for me, I mean your consumer or your audience. And if you can do something that has a great answer for the end user, that's something that may work. And many times it may have nothing to do with your product. I was just speaking with a chiropractor 2 days ago, and she said, I noticed when I started blogging about what I was passionate about, my children and being a mom, it secondarily was leading to more business to my chiropractic business. She wasn't blatantly promoting the chiropractic business, but people built a relationship with her and felt comfortable with her, and then saw that she was a local chiropractor. So it was a totally different way of doing things, but she's building buzz, but not blatant buzz.
not marketing explicitly about what you're doing, but kind of making content around the whole idea of what you're doing. Is that?
Yeah, and you just hit a great point, that she's developing really great content. And it doesn't just have to be written content. There's audio, there's video, there's photos. People can tell amazing stories through photos, but she's providing really good content, and that's why people are connecting with her. A woman who reads her blog said, I'm not even a mom, and I have so much fun reading your blog. You don't make me feel like I shouldn't be reading it. So she's inviting people in, she's providing content, and she's writing from her heart. And as bloggers, many of them are just passionate writers who are writing about a hobby.
And so when they start having that buzz around what they're doing, how do you how can that small business owner take that buzz and actually get people to interact, in regards to what they're doing? Because I see a lot of people, they write blog posts, and it's good blog posts or whatever, but they don't have that interaction going on. And I also have experienced it myself too. As a new blogger, you have something where you send out something and you don't have the response. So how can you? What steps can the small business owner take to encourage that interaction around that buzz that they're creating?
Sure. Well, one of the things, again, is the first thing I ever do before getting in with the community is there a need for this? And then, do people want to interact with me in this way? Because it can be such a letdown. You put all of this work into something where people don't really want to comment or interact. And the other thing I've seen with, blogs were kind of the grandfather of social media. That was the place where we could have our first interaction and have comments and talk back and forth. But now I've seen, over the past 2 years, this evolution of somebody might comment on your blog, actually on the blog, but somebody else might tweet about it, and that counts or consists of their comment. Or they might post about it to Facebook, and that's all they wanted to do. They wanted to share it, and that's as much interaction as they want. And there are many blogs who just have lurkers, people who read but they don't feel comfortable commenting. So I think it depends on what types of goals. If your goal is, I want to set this much interaction, but really your goal is, I'm trying to build more business for my business, you ultimately have to think about what you're trying to focus time and attention on, and what it's trying to feed and do.
Okay. So, and the thing now is, okay, you have PR in the sense, for instance, a client, you have your clients being business to business, right? Or you have your business that is business to consumers. So I'm sure there is a difference in the way you handle PR in both cases. Yes.
It definitely changes from a PR strategy, and I definitely do not specialize in B2B. I can speak to it briefly. My clients are all B2C, business to consumer. But when you're going to business, especially in B2B. I think I just read a stat today that a very low statistic, like 14% of B2Bs currently have someone dedicated to social media. People are trying to figure out, how does this work for us when we're trying to go to other businesses who are, in our clientele. But one of the good things about B2B is that you know who your target is.
Yeah.
You know very well. So there's a way you can go to them very specifically and reach them. You don't have to search like with social media to say, where are my consumers? Where are they talking? Who am I trying to reach? You know your audience. So without getting too tactical level, I think that that's a huge advantage, is that you automatically know where your audience is.
Okay, and then with the business to consumer, because you don't really know your audience where they are, so you have to go through the extra step to do that research to find
Yes.
where they are. And one of the things that is happening, okay, right now you have BP having a crisis, and I mean, it's a thing where all small business owners always go through a situation where something bad happens. So how can you encourage when that happens? How does a small business owner approach the PR?
Oh, that's a great question. One of the first things I always get, even let's just say with social media, every single business, I don't care if they're small or large, they always start asking me questions that are negative about social media.
Yeah.
What do I